Hydrogen demand at $2 per kilogram is expected to skyrocket by 2030. However, 9 out of 10 projects are not getting funded. They either get pushed to the next year or they get canceled. And the question is why? Why is this happening? The reason is that capex is extremely high. Electrolyzers today are extremely expensive. Logistics are very complicated. These machines are enormous. Installation is expensive. And the operating expenses are also really, really high. But to make it worse, these systems are not scalable. Manufacturing of these electrolyzers is not only expensive, but not scalable at all. So what happens is you can check companies that are public and how the revenue is going up and up and up, but they are becoming more and more unprofitable. So what we bring to the table is a manufacturing innovation to make stacks. So we are bringing economies of scale to the hydrogen industry for the very first time. Every single component in the electrolyzer stack is made using roll-to-roll manufacturing. These are techniques that are very old, over 100 years old. They are mature, they are low risk. We also use 100% domestic supply chains. So if you want to produce these stacks in Africa with African supply chains, you can actually do it. In Australia with Australian supply chains, you can do it. So the facility that makes these stacks is very low cost. The stack itself is very low cost. And finally, they are optimized for load following behind the meter operation, which means the operating expenses are also very low. Yeah, because we are an early stage company, we have to do many things in parallel at the same time. First of all, we are de-risking our manufacturing processes. But to be completely honest, those manufacturing processes are very old, very mature, very low risk. So what happens is that we are building our factory in Massachusetts right now as we speak. And we are also, in parallel, deploying a 3 megawatt project to test our technology. This 3 megawatt deployment is in the United States. We are also doing a lot of internal testing in both of our facilities, California and Massachusetts. And finally, we are growing our commercial team. We will be delivering product end of this year as well as early next year. And we are signing both binding and not binding capacity reservation agreements and sales orders. This is a very important milestone for Evoloh. We signed a 500 megawatt capacity reservation agreement. And the way it works is there is a security deposit that allows them to take delivery of stacks at a given range, not a very specific date, but a range. For example, 2027 to 2029. So this was a very big milestone for us, but at the same time, it is very friendly to the customer. It is very flexible. So this addresses many issues that startups have, which is how can you actually promise to deliver stacks? And how can you promise investors that customers will buy those stacks? The advantage for us, as I mentioned, is that the manufacturing facility for these stacks is actually very low cost. Because of our low risk, mature, low cost manufacturing processes, building a facility that can deliver on these stacks, these 500 megawatts in a couple of years, is not particularly difficult or costly. Building a gigawatt scale factory today using state-of-the-art technologies can easily cost 200, 400 million dollars, maybe $500 million. The advantage for us is that it doesn't take hundreds of millions. It only takes low tens of millions. So what we need to prove with this factory is the steepest manufacturing cost down curve in the industry ever seen, never seen before in the hydrogen space. How do we do this? We require only low cost commodity materials such as steel, plastic, and aluminum. What that means is we don't need to wait until the demand goes up. We don't need to wait years and years for the stacks to get cheaper and cheaper. From day one, this factory will prove that we can provide the cheapest electrolyzer stacks in the industry. And that will be a game changer in our hydrogen industry. If I take a state-of-the-art PEM or alkaline electrolyzer and I give it to you for free, completely free, your hydrogen will still be too expensive. That's an issue. And that's why many people in the industry are arguing this chicken and egg situation. What is going to come first? Is it high demand or low cost electrolyzers? In our view, it is absolutely going to be low cost electrolyzers. And this is what we bring to the table. All of this bad press and struggling OEMs is completely normal. It was completely expected. And you shouldn't build a company that relies on the government to come and save you. So what we bring to the table is not just a cheaper electrolyzer stack or an electrolyzer stack that requires lower operating expenses, but this stack was also designed with the integrator in mind. In other words, the balance of plant, all the other components around the stack, will also come down in cost if you use our stack. This is a very different way of approaching the problem. But the idea is, as a company, we only make stacks. But the entire plant will come down in cost because the developer is using our technology. So all of this is completely normal, and it likely will get perhaps even worse in the coming months. But in the long run, hydrogen will completely change the world.